A lot more about the man behind that heist who claimed he won the award himself for categories that actually don't even exist.
It was an ending only Hollywood could write. Just hours later, Frances McDormand's Oscar for Best Actress in a Leading Role, not in her hands, but with this man.
Look at baby. My team got this tonight.
That's 47-year-old Terry Bryant in a Facebook Live video accepting congratulations.
Congratulations! Thank you.
Letting odd partygoers pose.
It's so heavy, isn't it? Hello, look, this is the real deal.
What do you want, a photo?
And ready to head to the next party.
Where's the Jimmy Kimmel party at?
According to his social media page, Bryant, an aspiring DJ, is no stranger to appearing on the red carpet next to celebrities like Beyonce, Paris Hilton, Jimmy Kimmel.
After the guy snatched it, he did the smart thing. He immediately made a video of himself and posted it on Facebook.
And on Oscar Sunday, he was there at the Governor's Ball, where celebrated chef Wolfgang Puck cooks, and winners have their golden statues engraved with their names. At 10:05 p.m., McDormand's Oscar, worth up to $500,000, is being engraved. Then at 10:35 p.m., the first report surfaced that McDormand's Oscar is missing.
I love my Oscar.
The Oscar winner reportedly not yet too worried. Shortly after, Bryant begins streaming that Facebook Live video with his reportedly stolen golden treasure.
Governor's Ball, baby.
Bryant apparently bragging to partygoers he won the Oscar for Best Producer and for music.
Academy Awards, baby, for music.
By 11:50 p.m., Bryant is leaving Governor's Ball with Oscar.
We did it. We did it.
Shortly after, he's arrested for grand theft by the LAPD. According to his rap sheet, not his first brush with the law. An Academy official gave McDormand's missing Oscar back to Best Actor winner Gary Oldman, who is pictured holding both statues. The Academy telling ABC News in a statement that McDormand and her Oscar were happily reunited after a brief separation.
Now, apparently, Gary Oldman was not able to find McDormand at the Governor's Ball, so he handed it back to an Academy official who eventually, yes, reunited the star with her Oscar. But how about this for a question this morning? How did Bryant, a convicted felon, get a legitimate ticket to one of Hollywood's most exclusive parties, the Governor's Ball, Robin?
And do we know it was legitimate? Okay, Amy, thank you. Let's bring back our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, and media expert and our good friend, Larry Hackett. We have been to the Governor's Ball. There are a lot of people that are walking around. They're getting their Oscars finally engraved as they're getting something to eat after being on their feet for so long. It's not really out of the realm of possibility to see something like this happening.
Oh, no, no. It's a separate ticket from the actual event, right? And all the security is at the front end when people are coming down the red carpet. It's conceivable somebody had a separate ticket who was at the fair, at the show, didn't want to go to that, and he got a hold of it. You have people who've been sitting down for 3.5 hours who are starving, and there's 1,500 people moving from one room to another. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's pretty chaotic. Well, Francis says, you know, I got my Oscar back. Doesn't want to press any charges or anything. Does that play into it at all?
It could play into it, but it won't decide what happens to him. Meaning they've got the video. They have him on the video holding it, so they have enough evidence now to move forward against him anyway, even if she said, you know what, I don't want to move forward. So she could still be called to testify, etc. This is not necessarily one of those situations where they'll leave it up to her, but I do think they're certainly going to consult with her.
And as we said, heard in Amy's piece, not the first time he's had a brush with the law.
Well, that's right, and that's why they may want to sort of send a message here. But look, this is the kind of case that ends in a plea, right? This is the kind of case where they talk to her, she says, come on, let's make this go away. They offer him, you know, a misdemeanor or something, just make this go away, and this thing ends.
He's having a good time. He's walking around, taking pictures with other celebrities, holding other...
Absolutely. It ends in a plea, and it ends in the first joke for next year's Oscar Awards. Jimmy Kimmel already has his opening monologue for his joke.
But what do you make of him just making himself at home there and going around different celebrities?
Again, there's 1,500 people there. They're all wandering around. It's an enormous room. And listen, I was saying, you know, I've been into this event. I've got in there very hungry and maybe had a glass or two of wine and gone up to celebrities or someone who won an Oscar and say, hey, can I touch that? I asked, as Dan said.
Right. He didn't try and walk out with
No, I didn't
either, at least as far as we know.
Once you're inside, it's not that hard.
You
it's
know,
really not.
We're making light of it and glad
everything worked out okay.
Everything worked out okay. But security, especially in the times that we're living in right now, Dan.
Yeah, no, it is important, and I do think that this is going to lead them to reevaluate who gets tickets and how they get tickets and how tickets are transferred, et cetera. And I think it's going to be, really important to confirm that he actually had a legitimate ticket, et cetera.
And I don't want to say that the Academy has been lax. Going to the event is actually very difficult. You have to put your name in months ahead of time to get tickets, but there is that kind of gap between the ticket for the show and the ticket for the Governor's Ball, and my guess is that's going to change for next year.
Yeah, but it's like you said, it's not an easy ticket.
No.
All right, gentlemen, thanks very much.